Hi, it's Steph, and this morning I'm going to take a walk around my yard and show you what I hope to accomplish in this upcoming gardening season. We started with a blank slate when we built our home over 10 years ago now, and so each year we take on a couple of small projects to continually build up our garden. Now, there is one problem that I always have when it comes to planning landscaping projects, and that's my husband. Well, we've been married for a really long time, and we have a really good marriage. For the most part, we don't fight about much. But the one area we tend to disagree on the most is on gardening projects. While I rather have more bed and planting space to support pollinators, and I think that it's less area for him to have to mow the lawn, he disagrees. He thinks that a lawn is much easier to care for, and he prefers to have less obstacles to have to mow around. So I'm gonna ask him, he's working on some things this morning, and I'm gonna ask him if he'll join me while I take a walk around the yard and discuss these plans with him, some of which he's aware of, others he might not be, and see what his take is on it. I'm willing to bet he's going to disagree. And so I guess we'll have to see. I'm what I like to call a gardening optimist, and he is more of a realist. So yeah, there he is. Busy. Hey. Do you want to take a walk around the yard with me? I'm going to tell you what I want to do this year in the yard. What do you think?
Let me get a coat.
All right. So plan number one, I want to add some trees to the front yard this year. 3 or 4 maybe, and a mix of deciduous trees and evergreens. What are your thoughts about that?
So if you want to put them on the side, I'm okay with that, but not over here in this area.
Why not?
Because we have a septic tank right there, and then this whole center area is all a leaching field. So if you put any types of trees along the sidewalk or anywhere probably within 10 feet of that edge, the roots are probably going to reach for water. And there's a leaching field, so there's constant water over there. So I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm pretty sure, like, we live in the country, and there's like trees everywhere in people's yards, and everyone has septics and wells. So how do they do it?
I don't know, but I don't want to find out when we have problems. To be honest with you.
So the thing about this guy, that he probably hasn't
think logically, and you just think aesthetically. You just care about things being pretty, and I just think about things breaking.
Correct. So sometimes he gives in. Most of the time he gives in, and sometimes he doesn't.
So on this one, I say no on that to this side.
Okay.
But
so
if you want to turn around, then
so I will. So I'll turn around. This tree here is called a purple Thundercloud plum tree.
Hostas tree.
And it has really pretty reddish purple foliage, but the tree shape is a little wonky. While it looks okay from this angle, it's really flat in the back, and I've tried various pruning techniques to see if I could encourage some additional branching with no luck. So it looks like from that tree to this corner of the house is where I have some space to plant some trees this spring, and that will have to do until I can figure out what can or can't be planted near the septic and leaching field. This area here is the end of our driveway and the entrance to our backyard. I'd like to add a tree here. And the reason I want to add a tree here is something that likes water. There's a lot of moisture in this area, and I feel like if I put a water-loving tree, it's going to help absorb some of that water and also create kind of a arching canopy to provide more interest to the entrance to the backyard. Why do we get all this water over here, George?
The driveway is on a slope, so the water essentially just comes right down the driveway, and it has nowhere to go, so it ends up in this area of grass.
Yeah. So we have 2 options. We can try planting something that is water loving, or we can work on a drain. So those are the two options that we have.
It wouldn't be that difficult. We could just put a little trough right here and then just pipe it out to this area.
Yeah. So we could do that. Or we could do what I want to do, which maybe is also the trough.
As long as the tree can actually help the situation and would absorb the water,
yeah,
then I'm all for it.
Okay, so this one's a maybe. I'm thinking about a birch. Birches tend to like water. Specifically, I read about the river birch. Chokeberry seems to be a small tree that also could possibly go here. So we're thinking, or I am thinking at least, some kind of tree in this general area.
So this project is, maybe, I guess so, approved.
Okay, good. So last year, about a year ago, we added some beds on the sides of our shed. And we used to have a kid's swing set in this area back here. But our boys have sort of outgrown the swing set. Definitely our oldest and our youngest would no longer go in there when spiders made a home of it. So now we don't have the swing set anymore, and we started adding a Japanese maple garden back here.
Planting day for a lot of the Japanese maples. So this area is eventually going to be, I guess, like a Japanese garden. With probably like, I don't know, 5 to 7 different maples. And I think we're going to add a couple of like natural rock steps right here. And then you walk up into this patio area. So that's what we have right now.
Now that is the one plant that my husband actually likes. He likes Japanese maple trees.
Hostas tree.
So he was okay with this project, right, George? And so we started working on this last year, where we started cutting out pieces of lawn to add the trees in this area and to make big mulch beds. So what are we doing this year? You want to explain this project a little bit?
So essentially, we need to get rid of all the grass. And we've already started, but we kind of got burnt out towards the end of the season. But we need to get all this grass out. I already have steps in place to walk into the patio. But this is going to be all crushed stone, and we're also going to have a path going out this way. It's muddy right now, but this will
don't walk
also
on
be
that.
crushed stone. And then these trees will be in an island.
Yep, with a grassy path behind it.
So basically, this goes into a big loop, and I'll be able to mow right around it, and it won't really be too difficult to maintain.
Yep. So he's on board with this project. This one has been an okay one from the beginning. So this is a thumbs up.
And irrigation wasn't a problem because I was able to shut off the zone so that the leaves and the trees aren't getting soaked.
That's right.
Every night. So
Yep.
I was able to shut off that specific zone, and the rest of the grass still gets watered, so I think we're good.
So yeah, so this is a project we are going to continue working on this year. We have a couple more Japanese maples in our shed that we'll have to work on extending that way and putting them in the planting area. And I'd like to add a couple more evergreens here too. In this area here, this is the patio that George was just explaining, that we were working on some steps to head upward. This is the side of our shed. Now this is a really boring wall with nothing going on. And we don't have the ability to really, unless we use planters, we can't really plant anything in there. So my idea was to make some kind of raised bed type planter out of some stone material and install a trellis, kind of like a trellis, like an espalier.
Yeah, now we're getting into the real exotic stuff.
On this whole wall in like a diamond pattern, and grow something that is going to be mostly low maintenance, maybe a honeysuckle. Roses I don't do great with, so I'd probably avoid those. But that is another small project that maybe we can handle on a weekend. At least getting the espalier trellis up, and then maybe building the box and planting it up.
How will we mount this?
So we are going to have to mount it to the shed, which will probably involve some holes. What do you think about that?
See, that's always the part that it's probably going to look really good, but what are we going to do? Are we going to have holes in the siding now?
Yeah, probably.
That's the thing. So I don't know. I guess it's a maybe.
This one's a maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
So-
I would say yes, but I just don't want to destroy our shed.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to destroy the shed. So we'll have to come up with a solution. If it is drilling into the shed, that's, the less
We'll see.
favorable
if it's only like 4
option.
holes, if I can minimize the damage.
Unfortunately, because it's a diamond pattern, it's going to take significantly more than 4 holes. But I guess we're going to have to, plan this one out a little bit and see if the, what is your favorite line? Is the what worth the what? The juice worth the squeeze. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we'll have to wait on that one. So that's another project, and that one's a maybe on George's list. This is a border on the side of our lawn. So if I turn you to the left, this is our vegetable garden. And this is the edge of our lawn in the backyard. My idea is to create a mixed border here with just some shrubs and trees and evergreens. So right here we have an eastern redbud,
Hostas tree.
where George is standing. And I've planted some shrubs, some viburnum. I have a dogwood tree and this little evergreen that's hanging on for dear life because the deer keep chewing it. So the idea is to go out about minimum 6 feet, maybe up to 8 feet, and cut out a huge portion of lawn. Yeah, that's to start, okay? That's just to start. That's to make sure that these shrubs have enough room. As they grow, we might have to edge slowly a little bit more. Yeah. And I'm trying to make it easy for him to mow so he doesn't have to go in and out around these plantings.
That's a pain right now.
That is a pain right now. So the idea this spring is to do some sheet mulching here, which is the, some people call it the lasagna method. Throw down some cardboard, some soil, maybe some mulched leaves, and then some mulch.
How far are you going?
Maybe to where that tree is that has to get cut down. We have this...
Something else on the list.
I guess this tree might be a small project. So there's this tree, it's called the, it's one of those tree of heaven. It's actually problematic because it drops seeds and it creates a bunch more baby trees. And George has already had to cut those down last year. So we don't want it to keep happening. So this is going to have to get cut down. So once this cuts down,
This tree is really huge.
it's really a big tree. Yeah, let's check that out.
This is a big tree.
It is a big tree.
Like no joke. Like
It's pretty substantial.
Yeah.
So I'm probably going to need more than a Sawzall for that one. Down. But it just drops all the seed pods and it creates a bunch of baby trees and it just makes a huge mess. So that's going to have to come down. But I think the end of the bed for now
right here.
will be somewhere right around there.
Come out like this.
Yep.
And it would just be like a straight line, or you're gonna.
Curved beds always look more interesting and have a better aesthetic, but whatever you're willing to do this year, I'll take. Well, that takes care of the planning for the 2022 garden season. I'm hoping we can get most of the things that we talked about accomplished. At the very least, the top 3 would be the hardscaping in this Japanese garden area, consisting of the paved stones that we plan to do around the perimeter, as well as a gravel pathway. I would also like to accomplish the sheet mulching on that side border that we talked about. That would only be a weekend project to lay down some cardboard, some mulch, some compost. So I think we could handle that. And I would certainly like to plant at least 2 trees, an old-fashioned flowering magnolia in the front yard, and some kind of birch or water-loving tree to help with the standing water at the end of the driveway. So hopefully we can accomplish those projects. I think the espalier might have to wait a little bit until we do a little bit of research. George wasn't keen on the getting holes drilled on the side of the shed, and I sort of agree with him. I'd like to think that over a little bit better. As pretty as it would be a little bit of a commitment, so it would be wise to think that through a little bit more. So I am going to sit down and read some Monty over the next few days, and this may add some things to the list. Don't tell George. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.